What is up, guys? Today we have a very special episode. The Splatoon 3 Direct has finally happened, and there's a ton to talk about. This Direct pretty much revealed everything you need to know about Splatoon 3 prior to launch, and I'm excited to be able to break it down and share it with you guys. As always, I'm joined by my co-host David, and to start things off, we have a special announcement for you guys. We've finally come up with a name for the podcast. From now on, this show will be known as the Skill Issue Podcast. David's idea, so thank you for the idea. Um, Now, moving forward, we're going to be switching things up a little bit. We're still going to have guests, and the content that we cover is not going to change very much, but the format of our videos moving forward is going to change a little bit so that it's a little bit more viewer friendly. So our goal is going to be to upload about 1 to 2 episodes per week. Each episode will pick 1 or 2 main topics to cover, and we're going to try to keep them compact, around 30 to 40 minutes each. And that way it's a little more friendly for the viewer. I know those first two were pretty long, so I want to keep things short. Um, and we'll also be able to supplement these podcasts with other types of Splatoon content if they're shorter. So, and I'm excited to share those other types of content with you as well as we ramp up to Splatoon 3. Now, with all that out of the way, this direct was insane. I had a wish list going into this of all the things that I wanted for this game, and they hit on every single one of those main things that I wanted for this game. Quite honestly, I was blown away a little bit. I've never seen Nintendo implement this many features that their fans were asking for, and it was everything I possibly could have hoped it would be. Now, turning it over to you, David, what did you think? Did this live up to your expectations, or were you feeling let down a little bit?
Yeah, like even some of the things we said on the last couple episodes of the podcast that we were like, oh, it'd be amazing if they did this, but they're never gonna do that. Like some of the things like the ranked modes, the customization, some of the
Yeah.
stages, some of the specials, like a lot of it was what we asked for. Um, and it feels like they actually were I think listening to feedback from not only the JP but the NA community as well.
Yeah, I mean, I remember we talked about the Anarchy battles where they have the best 3 out of 5 sets. That's something we talked about in an earlier episode,
Yeah.
and I never would have dreamed that they actually would have done something like that. But here we are. So just again, I'm just blown away by how Nintendo has handled this. I'm super impressed. So I guess starting off from a gameplay perspective, as far as like the gameplay itself from a competitive perspective, all the specials, the maps, the new weapons, what were your first impressions? How do you think that this game is going to feel?
I feel like it's finally it feels the most um objective based out of all of the three games. I feel like Splatoon 1 felt very much kill based. Splatoon 2 felt very much survival based. And then this game, based on the way that the object the not only the reworks to the objectives, but the specials, how they seem OP around the objective and then worthless anywhere else, feels to me like they're very much putting an emphasis on the objective and the team based part of it rather than just getting kills or oops, I can't die, so you don't get to push.
I think for me, when I looked at like what I was looking for when this game was first announced was I mostly just wanted a game that rewarded players for interacting with the other team and being close to their teammates rather than because a lot of people have touched on this already, but global specials are part of the reason why this game is so unfun to play. You just because you don't have to be interacting with the other team, you can kind of just pop it from wherever you are on the map. And so the fact that there aren't any, I mean, I know missiles are in the game, which what the hell, but for
Yeah.
all we know, they're not going to be as game breaking as they are in this game. So for the most part, not as many global specials. So that's a big plus. And I also think a lot of the specials are skill-based specials as well, which kind of emphasizes players getting into the action and having the skills to use these specials and actually be able to aim with them. Because a lot of specials in Splat 2 were kind of just, missiles. That doesn't take any skill really to use. It doesn't really take skill to use to pop a bomb rush on the zone. It doesn't really take skill to pop a baller on the zone. Stuff like that I feel like is going to be really important for a healthy meta in this game moving forward.
Yeah. I think the specials are much more like everything feels a lot more team-based rather than, like,
You know,
I
you're just
run
off.
away and hide.
Exactly. Yeah. And then what about the new maps? Because they brought back, there's four maps they brought back from Splat 2, which were, I believe, Mako March, Sturgeon, Inkblot, and Wahoo.
Yeah.
So what do you think about those maps? Would you prefer that they brought back different maps, or are you pretty content with those?
I think I'm pretty happy, so I think Make Mart is great. I think one of like, all 4 of those maps, I feel like the worst mode on them I feel like tower control and splat zones is fine on them. Maybe not Wahoo World for tower control, but, like, for the most part, the 2 worst one is Rainmaker and Clam Blitz. I don't think any maybe Mako Mart, but definitely Inkblot, Sturgeon, and Wahoo did not come out, or, like, they came out before Clam Blitz was a thing, so I don't think they were made with Clam Blitz in mind. Maybe Mako Mart was because that one came out later and, like, might have been, like, Clam Blitz was coming, but Clam Blitz is not very good on them, and then Rainmaker, but that's Rainmaker's fault, not the map, and so they're obviously gonna get reworks now that Rainmaker got reworked, and then now that Clam Blitz has had a whole entire game of, testing, I'm sure those are gonna get reworked, and then, I don't know, just make Tower not just hover over nothing on Wahoo World, and we're good. We have really good maps. I think there's other really good Splatoon 2 maps that, like, I want back that I'd be interested to see how they rework them, something like Humpback, where you can maybe they flip the map and you play the other way around, um, like, you'd play, like, horizontally, like, the spawns would just be on a different axis, or, like, the Reef was really good, um, but overall, I think they picked 4 good maps, and I'm happy with the maps they're bringing back from Splatoon 1 too.
Yeah, I think the maps are decent. I mean, it's a far cry from beginning of Splat 2 when Moray and Port were at launch in the
Yeah.
game. So I think Inkblot for sure. That was probably, I think that's the universally accepted best map. Either that or Mako, and both of those are coming back. So I think that's really good. And like you talked about with Mako, I believe that actually came out in the same patch that Clamblitz came out. I could be wrong, but I think that that's how it worked. But Sturgeon was out at release, so that's part of the reason why Sturgeon Clams I think is one of the worst clams, in my opinion, one of the worst clams map in the game. And like you said, they have a whole new game now. They've had 5 years of Clamblitz now that they can look at and say, hey, this is what makes a good Clamblitz map. This is what doesn't work. And so I think they'll be able to make some reworks. And similarly to that, Wahoo, which in this game is really only good in zones, I think there's potential for them to make that map a lot better on all three other modes as well. And especially with the Rainmaker rework, which, I mean, I don't know. What do you think about the rework? Because I think it's an interesting way to try to quote unquote fix Rainmaker. But based on what I've seen so far, I think it's promising.
Um, I mean, I don't really fully understand how it works yet. So, like,
Yeah.
I don't know how the Rainmaker, like, what do I do when I get to that checkpoint? Like, it keeps like, it was very unclear what happens, and the camera would not be
Yeah.
directly just on the Rainmaker with nothing else happening. There'd always be so much chaos around it, or
They
the
didn't
camera would just keep moving from player to player, so I don't know what happens.
yeah, they didn't directly touch on it or talk about it because it was kind of just on in the background. As far as I understand it, I can't say for sure. We won't know for sure until the game is out, but as far as I understand it, it kind of works like tower checkpoints, except unlike tower where you just got to sit on it for a certain amount of time to get through it. I believe you have to repop it again. I think that's how it works. And then that way, if
Oh,
you, I think, because when you put it on the pedestal, it looks like it resets the Rainmaker. So if you want to try to
yeah.
keep pushing, you got to pop it again and push from there. So if that's the case, then it'll definitely make one push knockouts a thing of the past, which I think was one of the biggest problems with Rainmaker. And it was kind of hard to tell, but it looked like the Rainmaker shots weren't quite as busted either. Again, kind of hard to tell until the game comes out, but they didn't look as
Hmm.
ridiculous as they are in this game. So, and then another mode that got a big revamp is clamblets. So I don't know if you noticed, but you can make a you can make a football with only 8 clams now in clamblets. So,
Yeah.
I'm guessing the reason they did that is just so that you can make a ball off 2 clam spawns. So I'm interested to see how this will play out because I feel like that's gonna make it a lot more of an aggressive mode because you'll get your clams so much quicker. You won't have to spend as much downtime collecting clams. It's just 2 clam spawns. Like I don't know. What do you think? I mean, I feel like it's gonna make clamblets a lot more aggressive than it was in this game.
Yeah, I think the main issue with Clan Blitz it was that like depending on when you push, and it's very difficult to predict when this is going to happen, except for the final minute of the game or the final 30 seconds of the game. Um, Depending on when you push, there might be a lot of clams at the enemy team's basket, or there might not be. Um,
Yeah.
like there could just literally just be no clams spawning, or just you win the game. Um, And so I would presume there's going to be some change with how the emitters emit or where they are. And then in order to balance that, they had to bring the clam cost down. So you'd only probably have to go to two different emitters. So I assume there's probably going to be less and they're probably going to be closer to mid. And then the team that actually holds like control of the whole zone or like the whole zone, but like the
Like mid.
whole contestant, yeah, like contested areas, um, for longer would probably have the more pushes. Whereas before it, like you could just get lucky with one push. You just have to you can control the map for less time, but you got lucky at what time you did it. Um, as well, I'm pretty sure Clan Blitz in solo queue because people aren't good at it, like draws a lot, and like things like Brush and Sploosh are very overpowered because they just back cap once and win the game. So I think maybe that's also something they're trying to get like just make it less clams, and then hopefully people will actually throw the ball.
Yeah, in this game you have maps like the Reef where I mean, Reef Clams from a design perspective is like from a layout perspective, it's a really good map, but you run into the problem where if you get into the goal at the right time with the right clam spawns, then you just auto win. And so I think, I mean, we don't really know how the clam runs work yet, but if that's how it works, then we'll see a mode that's a lot more control based and I think it'll be a little more similar to zones in that you're trying to hold an area rather than like you know, running around the map getting clams. It'll be actively holding one centralized area rather than just, going to this far off corner in the map just to get 4 clams to make a ball.
Yeah. I found a part in the video that has the Rainmaker hitting the checkpoint,
Okay.
and it looks like the camera just has to run away instantly, but it looks like for a short moment. Oh yeah, they definitely it was the NZAP carrying it, and they definitely get their gun back as the Rainmaker
Yep.
respawns. So I assume you do have to repop it again,
Yeah.
and someone different can take it. I think that's perfect. I feel like the
Yeah.
whole problem I had with Rainmaker is if you pick it up, either you knock out or you die. You can't get your weapon back. You can't use your special. Um, Felt like unfun. Like I picked a
Exactly. And
main weapon. I want to play this main weapon.
there's a lot more strategy to it now too, because now if you have a weapon that's, in Splat 2, you would never even dream of picking up the Rainmaker. I'm never gonna pick it up as a T-Tech, but maybe in Splat 3 there'd be a situation where I don't have my special active, but a teammate does. I can get to this checkpoint, and at that point their special is done, but I've got to the checkpoint, I get my main weapon back. So there's gonna be a lot more strategy
Exactly.
with who actually picks up the Rainmaker in this game, which I think is also a welcome change. It'll be nice to see non-support and backline players holding the Rainmaker every time.
Yeah.
What did you think about the new weapon, the katana?
So I saw its kit was Burst Bomb Hammer, right?
I
Or was
believe
that
so.
two different versions of it?
I'm not sure. They showed like the original one, and there was another one that looked like a chainsaw, but they didn't really
Yeah.
show that one.
Yeah. I think I saw it. I can't tell which one is which, but I think I saw one throwing a burst bomb, and let me check. No, oh, okay. So the one that has Ultra Stamp, we think has Torpedo, and then there's the one that looks like a chainsaw has Burst Bomb. So they're
Okay.
probably two variants of it. So Torpedo Ultra Stamp is it's not as OP as I thought Burst Bomb. I think Burst Bomb's gonna be crazy on it because I think it's just gonna be
Yeah, totally. Because
carbon,
that's what I'm
but
thinking
like
too.
yeah,
Because it'll be like carbon, except it'll have a better long range attack. Like carbon, you can like the vertical flick carbon reaches it has decent range, but you're only doing like 40 damage. So I think the option to be able to charge it and shoot out a long range is going to make it a lot more of a dynamic weapon than a carbon is. So it'll be kind of like it's cool because it's like a melee weapon, but it's a melee weapon that doesn't have to be right next to you to do something, which I think is pretty much the only way that they were going to be able to get a melee weapon to work in this game. Because
yeah.
you can charge it up and you can throw out like shuriken blasts. Now
I don't
the
know if
kill,
was it here that we were joking about it, or was it somewhere? Me, you, and Jordan. I don't know if it was on a podcast, but we were literally joking about like how
yeah,
could they add another melee weapon? Either just like they have an ultra stamp, so they have a hammer already, and then a sword, and then we came up
yeah,
with it.
and that's what they did. That's yeah. All right, so another often talked about thing with, especially among TOs and people who just want better production value in their tournaments, is how do we engage the audience better during tournaments? And one of the ways that could potentially do that in Splat 3 is the replay feature. Now, this could serve a lot of different purposes, but one that stuck out to me right away was commentators in a tournament. You no longer have to sit there and have a BRB screen and play the same generic Splatoon song that you've been playing for the last two tournaments. You can pull up the replay and do a full VOD review of what happened. Like, okay, this is what happened in this team fight. You can break down even down to like the individual one-on-one level. You can switch off players. You can rewind it. It's it opens up a lot of options for production. That's the main thing that I first thought of when I saw that. But what do you think?
Um, so I think first off, yeah, it's good for like, I think content making, it's good. I think it's useful for like if you're playing competitively or even if you just want to like just watch games back, if you want to watch back like a good moment you had and just clip it or whatever, or like if you just want to figure out, why am I losing, or how did I die here, or how did other people die here, what could I have done better. um a lot of people on Twitter are pointing out you could be kind of mean and just spectate people who did bad and then like make fun of them, clip it or whatever. I don't know. I feel like
I
you
don't
could
think
you
that's
could
a big
always
deal.
do that.
You
You
can
could
do
always do that,
that's
like, yeah,
that's an issue with every sport or every game.
yeah.
It's there's no way to
You just
avoid
have
it.
to ignore those people. Yeah,
Yeah,
there's no avoiding it. You just have to ignore those people. Yeah, people are gonna be mean, but sure, it might be a little easier for them now, but like they were always gonna try, no matter what, they were always gonna try and be mean and do something like that, or like flex scrim results or whatever. Like now, and sure, now they might have an easier time doing it, but like they were always gonna try to figure out how to do it. So it's like
yeah. I mean, switch clips
whatever.
were already a thing. It's just because it's easier now doesn't mean that it's gonna be. It was already a problem before. It's not gonna. Now, I think from an
Yeah, but
accessibility
like,
perspective,
uh,
this is really cool because in this game, if you want to VOD review your own gameplay, you basically need to fork out like $100 or whatever to get a capture card. And you also have to have a computer that can actually run that. And a lot of people in this community may be younger kids who they might not even have their own computer. They might be voice chatting on a phone or an iPad. So I think being able to VOD review your own gameplay without having to invest in that kind of thing is going to be super helpful for those players that may not have access to those things.
yeah, I think it's fun. I think it's a good thing. I think I like literally just think about like myself of like how like I would literally, if I do bad in a game or a scrim, like I don't know why I'm losing or what I'm doing wrong, or I would literally just watch. I could just watch it back. Whereas before, I'd have to record, or I'd have to have someone spectate me, and they record, and then they send it to me and stuff.
Yeah,
Like I don't know, it was complicated before.
Because
And
like
this game got this replay feature, which some big games don't even have. Like Valorant doesn't have it. It's like,
you're a great example of
it's
this.
awesome.
Because I mean, you don't have a capture card, so it's for you to
Yeah,
VOD review your own gameplay. It's kind of a challenge, but yeah, I mean, I think when you're VOD reviewing as a team, it's also helpful because you can, if you do have someone that can record, then you can save it to your Switch, and then you can record that gameplay onto your with your capture card onto your computer. So that, which I also think is useful because that way, like, because normally you're stuck if you're trying to record a game, you're pretty much stuck having to record it live. But this way, like, maybe your internet sucks or your computer is, you're running a bunch of other tabs open, you want to record it later, you can save games. Or if you don't even know which games you want to record, you can save the games to your Switch, look at them later, and then decide which ones you want to record after the fact. It gives you a lot more options with content, and VOD viewing as a team is going to be so much easier too because you don't have to worry about, oh, I need this person's POV, I need this person's POV, we need to get a fifth to spec this. No, you just need one person in the game to save it, and that's it. It's so useful. I can't tell you how annoying it was to have to get a fifth person every time we wanted to do a top-down VOD review. Such a pain.
but I'm really happy with it. I'm impressed with it. The one thing I
Me
want to
too.
point out is the wording they used specifically. They said it tries to recreate the battle. Um,
Yeah.
to me, that's just the technical slang of saying that they're not realistically saving everything because nothing's getting sent to a server, so they
So
can't save the inputs, or they can only save the inputs.
yeah,
They
so
can't
that's
save
what it
the
is.
actual physics.
That's how it is with Smash 2. They're not actually recording a video. It's they track all the inputs from all players throughout the game, and then it's literally just like it's basically like robots that they have programmed to perform those exact inputs. So it's the file size probably isn't going to be enormous because it's not you're not recording a HD video. It's just replicating inputs, and it'll probably be the same as Smash, where every time there's a new patch, all the replays you have on there have to be deleted, which is fine,
Oh yeah,
but that's something to keep in mind too, because that's how it was for Smash as well. I think the last thing I want to touch on with the replay review is if you're like think about if you're doing a tournament. One of the things that this community lacks, and we've talked about this in previous episodes before, is statistics, like tracking stats, such as player weapon picks, win rate on map modes, kills, deaths, assists, specials, paint, all that stuff. And being able to average it out by player, compare players, see how everyone's performing, that kind of thing. We don't really have any of that. And a lot of other bigger esports have stuff like that. But having this replay feature is going to make it a lot easier for us to do that because now you don't have to manually count all the stats live or ask a player for the Splatnet after the game. You can literally just now, to be fair, I don't know if the spectator can actually save. I would assume they can. So
I
assuming
would
that they
hope
can,
so.
so
Yeah.
assuming that the spectator can save replays of a game they didn't play in, you can save a replay, you can analyze that whole game. And not only can you look at the stats, but you can actually break down decision making of the players. So that way, if you want to do like more in-depth analysis of the players that go beyond stats, because stats don't always tell the whole story. If you want to do an in-depth breakdown, you can break down individual fights of players. You can track like how often they're winning their fights, how effective their special usage is, things like that. And all you have to do that is just be in the lobby. You don't even have to play in the game. You don't even have to have a capture card. Like, can you imagine how important that would be for tournaments? Like, it's so easy.
Yeah. I think it's a good thing. It's a very good thing. I'm very impressed.
Me too. Again, I never would have expected something like that out of them. I mean, I know Smash has a replay feature, but Smash is most of the replays that are being saved in Smash are like, well, first of all, Smash is a 2D platformer, and it's I just didn't think they'd be able to pull it off in Splatoon, so I'm really impressed. Now, the next thing that I really wanted them to add to this game, and they came through again, is the training room. So the training room thing, one of the things that I wanted was to have, because everyone has that that NA scrim moment where they're just sitting in the room and it's like I've been sitting in this room for 5 minutes. I'm getting, my aim's getting cold now because I've been sitting in here waiting for Johnny to do the dishes. And he said he was going to be back 5 minutes ago. So
Never coming back.
exactly. So at least having a way to keep your aim sharp and practice like that while you're waiting is super important. And we don't really know how it works yet, but and they didn't really show it in the direct, but if you look in the direct to the right, there's like a little like machine robot thing. And if you look on the
A
website
terminal,
after,
yeah.
yep, after the fact, they say that it has some sort of it implies some sort of AI feature to it because they talk about like it fights back, so you have to perform defensive maneuvers against it. So it almost sounds like you can like program it to shoot back at you so that you can actually fight against it. And again, we don't know how it works, but if that's true, then that's going to change the game for how we practice individually.
I I don't know. I don't want to get my hopes up on those wordings just because like I don't know, it sounds too good to be true to be honest. And like I don't I feel like it's not gonna be as customizable as we think it is. It might just be like you could maybe just give it a weapon and then it just has like a firing pattern and that's it. And like
Yeah, I mean, again, we don't know, but it's definitely
I'm
a
trying
step in
not
the
to
right
get my
direction.
hopes up. Yeah.
Another
I
thing
just think the
that's
training range with like your friends is really cool, like in the
yeah,
lobby and like
yeah, that's pretty
I
cool.
don't
You can
know.
see where
I
your
think I
where your
think a
friends
lot of
are.
people are gonna have a lot of fun. Yeah.
That's true. You can have squid parties in the training room before you start your set. Take drip pics. You
Yeah.
can take drip pics in the training room now, if you
That's
want.
pretty funny actually, yeah.
So another thing with the training room was it looked like they had the dummies were laid out a little bit differently too. So you still had moving targets, you had more targets. I'm not sure what those bigger targets were, but either way, it's
I'm
definitely looks like an
scared because it
improvement.
looks like they had defense up.
I know that's what I thought too, because but I don't think they do, because I don't think they would explicitly say the defense of a damage up will not return if they were coming back, because in Splat 2 they never said anything like that. So the fact that they say that now, it makes me hopeful that it's never going to be in the game.
You know, I'm gonna be very sad if defense up is in the game and
I
that's
swear
why
to
the
God, if
dummies are
Nintendo
there.
can't learn on the third try, then they just
It's
they
like
just
they
need to
have to
quit.
have a game with both of them, and then a game with only damage, and then a game with only
Only
defense.
defense, yeah.
Just
Oh,
break it. Just break all of it.
exactly. Aerospray is a 10 shot.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And then what about the new lobby mechanics? What do you think about those? Like the Anarchy Battle and the fact that League Battle is not going to be in the game at launch. Do you think Anarchy Battle is going to be a good enough substitute for that?
I think I don't I can't tell which one is better. Like what people want to play more. And like I also don't so I guess I'll start with Anarchy Battle. I think the idea of a best of 5 is amazing, but I think it might be too long. My original idea was best of 3. Just because it's like, okay, I get cheesed one game and then win like in overtime with oh -50, like that kind of sucks. Um, I think I'm apprehensive about best of 5 just because sometimes you're just gonna get matched with, two people that have the same weapon or like something like there's two charger mains and they're charger mains and they don't, you know, they could just not want to play with each other or just people who aren't at your skill level, like the matchmaking just taking a long time, so it gave you whoever. Um, and it's like this team just isn't it. We're gonna lose. It's slow and painful. Sometimes there's gonna be DCs. Now there's always gonna be DCs every game. There's games like League and Overwatch. Those games take a long time. And you make a commitment when you play a ranked match that you're there for. Um, sometimes League could just be like over an hour. Um, but like I don't know, in this game, I think DCs are a lot more prone, and it's gonna suck if in game 1 someone disconnects. I wonder how rejoining works. Can they rejoin, or are they done for 5 games? Potentially 5 games, or 3, I guess.
If they're done, if they DC game one, then they better have like a forfeit, like where the set is just voided, because I don't want to, like, you talked about having the problem of players being forced to play a game in a 3v4 in a best of three. Well, now it's a best of five, so now you got to play 2 or 3 games
Right.
down a player, and it's just like they have to have a way to counter that because I know their netcode's not going to be good enough that that's not going to be fairly common still. So let's just get into the next section that I want to talk about, which was the squid roll and how I feel like it can help make 1v1s in this game a lot more dynamic and interesting than they were in Splat 2. So it's confirmed that they have iframes. It's not just a bug. It's actually iframes. And there's also an ability called intensify action, I think it's called. It's such a dumb name, but the concept itself is really cool. It takes like the jump RNG effective MPU in this game and combines it with improving your squid roll into one ability. And so I feel like what might end up happening is people are going to start to figure out like how much squid roll do you need to armor, 10 missiles, how much squid roll do you need to armor like that wave breaker, stuff like that. And it's going to be, you know, weapons that are going to be in a lot of 1v1s may invest heavily in it, and there's going to be a lot of strategy to it, like when do I use my iframes, um, stuff like that. What do you think?
I I hope it's not spammable, but at the same time, it looks punishable, especially the one going up, like the vertical like jump up. Um, I
Yeah,
feel like that one might never actually get used unless it's to save yourself from like a ledge bomb or something. Um,
true.
like I feel like the only time you'll ever use that. I don't think it's like by the time the animation's done and you're able to shoot, sure you have like it's like you're basically just jumping them, but I feel like it's very easily telegraphed.
Did you see how long it took on startup without any of the ability equipped? It looked like you were super jumping. That's how long it took for you to charge up the wall jump.
Yeah, like I also don't know if that's like just the person like holding it for longer than they need to, or like not
Yeah,
hitting a
that's
button
true.
as soon as the jump happens, can you be holding down an input and in the first frame possible, like shoot? Maybe they didn't. Maybe they waited until the jump was over and then shot, and they didn't do anything to cancel any animation or anything. But
Yeah,
that one looks like more of a I'm gonna use my iframes to save myself from something that's on a
from like a
ledge that's
bomb.
gonna kill
Yeah.
me. Yeah.
Or if
That
you're
doesn't
like,
look like
or if someone's below you and you're trying to climb up a wall to get away,
maybe. Maybe, but it feels long to have like I feel like jumping or just swimming faster is better.
it
Um
could be. Again, we'll have to see how this ability stacks, but
I think it makes your movement is predictable and like, no matter how fast like dualies are and something, they're always weak to something that just can predict like it doesn't matter, they just predict where they go. Any shooter with longer range than them or like even like a sniper or something, just I know exactly where you're going to go, even if it's fast. So just
yeah,
because you move fast, yeah,
if you have really good flick aim, then you can just hit it every time.
right.
But I don't
The
think it's going to be
vertical one I
used.
think might be good.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's going to be so much used as it's not going to be used the same way that you would use a dually roll because I think it's more so going to be used as a defensive tactic in a 1v1, like to retreat or if someone threw a bomb at your feet, like how do I armor? Like, can I armor this bomb so that I can stay in this fight without dying? Stuff like that.
Yeah, I just feel like when they made it, I don't feel like that's what they intended it to be. I feel like they intended it to be like I jump in the air so I have a good vantage point to shoot you before I go back down under cover. Like I felt like they wanted something like
Yeah,
that. And like if they try to make it that, it's gonna not be good. But if it's defensive, I feel like it could be better, especially the I guess would it be horizontal one? No, vertical, like the one moving left and right where you're not
like
going
the
up.
roll. Yeah,
Yeah. That one I think could be somewhat useful. And it looks like it painted a little bit, right?
Think so? I'll have to go back and look, but maybe.
Can I just roll into like enemy ink and just like fail?
I'm guessing you can. I just think that you'll probably get stuck once you land there. It'll probably be like the same as a dually, where because I think
Maybe.
it has cooldown.
Okay.
I don't know exactly how it works, but yeah, it's. I mean, if
I
you're a
feel like
weapon that gets, like, say you're a dynamo and you get a splat bomb thrown at your feet, you'd have no way of dodging it without a roll like that. So I think it's going to be a really good option. I was skeptical of it at first because it seemed to me like they were just trying to standardize movement options and just make it like easy to do like substrafing. It was just like an easier version of substrafing. But now that they've actually fleshed it out a little bit with the iframes and how it needs to be charged up and things like that, I feel like it actually has a lot of purpose and it's going to make 1v1s a lot more interesting. Give people a lot more options in fights because in this game I think fights get a little boring sometimes.
that's fair.
Anything else stand out to you? What about Salmon Run?
I didn't have I don't know. I don't play Salmon Run too often. I played it a lot at the beginning because I wanted gear, and chunks and stuff, but I stopped playing it like for like 3 years. The only time I ever play it is if someone else wants me to play with them. Um, so like I don't know, it seemed cool. The boss at the end seemed cool. I'm probably gonna enjoy it for like the first, when I have to grind gear. It's like, oh, this is probably a lot more fun than Splatoon 2's, but that's cool. I think the one thing that I kind of was interested in, it piqued my attention, was when they were like mentioning that every couple of months there'll be a takeover. And it sounded like the way they hyped it up of like it's like a Splatfest kind of event of like this is a global event, not just a whatever salmon run, but like this is something that might, like, obviously it's not gonna change like ranked modes or whatever, or like the plaza, but like it could be something that they add, special rewards for participating in, or some sort of seasonal rewards for who could get the highest in salmon run or something. If they tried to go down that route of like making it like a leaderboard. Um, I don't know. That piqued my interest because like, oh, there's something there that they can make it cooler and just more of a general like teams actually want to play this. But if not, then it's just less boring grind for gear, I guess.
Yeah, I think that was pretty cool. I mean, I don't think it's gonna make Salmon Run, it's not gonna drastically improve its popularity, but I do think it'll give the community a reason to come together and take it seriously a little bit more. Especially if, now we don't know how it ties into the gear system yet, but I would assume it works similarly to Splat 2. So if it has the same gear utility or better than it does in Splatoon 2, and it has these community events, new bosses, maybe some other features that we don't know about, then I think it'll at least be, there'll be a lot more reasons to play it than Splat 2 at least, which is all that you can really ask for, I guess.
Mhm.
And as far as the gear system itself, main abilities can be customized, which thank God that was one of the things I was hoping for the most when this game came out. They cost 45 chunks. So I would assume the subs still cost 30, the mains cost 45. That's not a bad cost at all.
Yeah, I would love, like in Splatoon 2, I've had infinite money forever. I think I
Yep.
mentioned this before. Like, I would
Yeah, we
love to
talked
just,
about this.
can I give you 100K for just one chunk, please? Like, I'll
Exactly.
do it. I don't
So
care.
stupid. Like, can I just buy chunks? I have 10 million coins and I have every item of clothing in the game. What am I
I
supposed to
can
do with
make you
this?
the richest urchin in the world, and you won't give me one chunk.
Exactly. Like, what are you trying to, what do you gotta hide here, dude? Just give me the chunks.
Yeah, I hope they make it less tedious. I felt like if you compare 2 to 1, 1 was so annoying
Oh,
and
1 was
tedious.
awful. People half the people who had good gear hacked that game because of how
Yeah.
s- much of a pain in the ass it was to get good gear. And I don't blame them. It was just
I had 1 MP or 1 damage upset, and that's all I ever used in on everything, and, like, just 'cause it took
yeah, because you're
forever to
just
make that
and you don't
perfect
have
damage
time to yeah,
upset.
you don't have time to make any more. Now so like the way I kind of see it is Splat 1, it was hard to find clothes that you it was like hard to get the gear you wanted in the first place. Like it was just almost impossible. Splat 2, it was easy to get the gear you wanted given enough time, but getting it on the clothing items that you actually wanted, not necessarily free. You had to wait for Splatnet updates, and even then, I'm pretty sure there were still some pieces of gear that didn't end up getting certain abilities. Splat 3, it's going to be, it's still easy to get the gear you want given enough time, but now you also have the personal, like, you can personalize it. You have customizable gear, so you can wear whatever you want with whatever abilities you want, which I think is the absolute perfect scenario for the gear. Like, I couldn't be happier with it. As long as it's not super impossible to get chunks through rank battles and stuff, then I think it's a great system from what I've seen so far.
Yeah. I don't like grinding too much, but, like, I don't know if it's at least satisfying, then
Well,
sure.
I mean, the way I see it is I'm going to be playing this game a lot anyway, so might as well utilize the time that I'm going to be playing it anyway to simultaneously get the gear. So that doesn't really bother me as much.
Yeah. I also really like the save data transfer.
Me
Um,
too, yeah.
basically from if you have Splatoon 2, there's certain things you can get. Um, there's you get like basically you can pick 3 main weapons that you can just get. Um,
Yep.
then I don't know if you still have to pay for it, like if it just gives it to you even if you're level 1 and you then
You
have to pay
still,
for
well,
it. If it does, it's worthless.
you still have to spend your Sheldon licenses to get it, but you'll start off with some Sheldon licenses at the start, like before you've
Yeah,
even played.
yeah,
So, yeah.
that's cool because it's like, I don't know, man, I played 5,000 hours in this in Splatoon
Oh,
2, give it to me.
yeah. Exactly.
No. No, I play junior, so it doesn't matter, but, um,
Hey,
and
that
then
might
there's
change. You might flex off of it. The
maybe
NZAP has the soda special.
I really like the soda special, I'd like to play it, but I don't wanna play on Zap.
That's fair.
It's
That's
just,
fair.
oh, maybe it'll be fun in that game. Maybe it'll be more fun, um, but there's also the option of playing the anarchy battles from the beginning of the game, um which, like, I don't know, as I was saying before, like, I think they're awesome. The concern would be, I don't know if X rank, when they mentioned the X thing, how do we like, do you have to rank up in Anarchy to get there or what? So is Anarchy actually ranked? Is it unranked and you can just play it for whatever? Um, does
I
X gonna
think
have that best of 5?
I think the purpose of it is it's supposed to be like unranked ranked modes, basically.
Right,
That's why it's called anarchy because it's not like, you know, your rank's
makes
not on the
sense.
line. That's what I would think. And then I don't know why they're not just going to release X rank at the start of the game. I mean, maybe they're just trying to let things develop for a few months, let players' ranks settle a little bit. I don't know if that's why, but
Yeah, and then not having League, I guess, like, what's the difference between League and then the Anarchy, besides the power? Because they said you can do Anarchy with your friends, so it should be the
yeah,
same, but the power, isn't there, which I don't know. I guess some people play League for the power. I don't know if I've ever played for a high power. I've always just played to practice with one specific person or just for fun. Um,
I used to, but in the past couple of years, I've just been like, I don't care about League. If I'm playing League, it's probably because I don't have a scrim or I'm memeing with Frito or something.
yeah. But I'm glad that if you play Splatoon 2, you don't have to go through the level 10 of Turf 4 before you can play the game. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, you at least get
Um,
to play a weapon that you want to play to start out with. Even if you don't get
exactly.
every weapon, you can still, you can get your main right off the bat.
Yeah, you get your main, you can play Anarchy battles. Says to start the game with a higher rank. I don't know if Anarchy has like a hidden matchmaking system because it also just says get matched with
I,
players from
th- I'm
similar
pretty
skill
sure they
levels.
do.
So,
I'm pretty sure if you look in the Splat Research website, it did have some sort of weapon matchmaking thing
mhm.
where you're not going to get put with the same person twice. But and I hope they have some sort of queue, like if you even if it's just like a 20-second queue, just like oh, I see another charger on this team. I'm on charger right now. I should switch off. And you don't even need that much time because we have the gear registers, right? So you can just go to your gear and just pick, okay, I want this weapon with this build, and it's like that. So for anyone, if anyone's taking 90 seconds to press the A button in a PB, then what the hell is going on? Because you don't need that much time. Register your stuff.
Yeah, I'm gonna see the one trick with the one build. It's
Take
taking
90
forever to
seconds.
download.
Oh my
But
gosh. There's always that one guy.
yeah. Did you want to talk about like any of the the visual stuff, like the lockers and the names and the banner and whatever?
Honestly, I don't really care about that stuff. Is that bad?
Really? I like it. Like I said, I like something to spend my money on. I like the cosmetics. I think it's a very cute appeal. I know obviously everyone wanted apartments, but like I don't know. Like I always knew it was just a lot to add an apartment. And that
Yeah.
they're never gonna actually add something that I would be satisfied with. Because if they just went through like the whole thing of making a really nice apartment system, like are they
They
just
wouldn't have time to
importing
focus on the actual game. And it would,
yeah,
yeah,
like are they just importing half of Animal Crossing in there? Like let's just get
yeah. I mean,
this part of Animal
it's the same
Crossing in
dev
there.
team, so they
Right.
probably.
Or are they just gonna grab that? Like, I don't know. I like the locker idea. I think it's a very cool aesthetic. I think it fits the Splatoon aesthetic, which I think this game does a lot better than Splatoon 2. It fits like the original art style and appeal of Splatoon 1,
Yeah.
and I think the lockers fit it. I like the little objects you can have in there, little stickers, like skateboards or whatever, like paint, graffiti, the banners, were pretty cool, and, like, having that name thing, it's probably the exact same as Animal Crossing. You know how, like, in Animal Crossing, you have, like, a title of, like, just random words? You can pick, like, a list of, like, random words, and then, like, it's, like, an
For your
adjective and then a
for your
noun.
title, yeah.
Yeah, it's probably the exact same list. That would be, um,
Yeah, that's
surprised if it wasn't, but
fine.
if it is, that means I can have monkey. I want monkey.
I didn't see monkey in there, but you never know.
Yeah. I think the one thing that might be kind of, like, relevant, though, is the nickname and the ID system for, like, TOs and, like, identifying players and stuff. I don't know if you had any thoughts on it or if you knew how it worked.
Yeah, I mean, I'll touch on that really quick because we got to wrap up here soon. But I definitely think it's well, I don't want to say it's going to be a big improvement because I feel like you might still be able to find a way around it. But like, if if you're like unable to change it no matter what, and you're stuck with that ID, and it's like tied to your Sendu account, or you have to register it on Battlefy or something like that. If it works like that, then I definitely think it's gonna be like 10 times harder to be able to alt because you literally would need like another Nintendo account to be able to alt.
Mhm. Yeah, I don't know. I like it. I
Me
think
too.
maybe hopefully you can be, like, anonymous when you, like, play, like, ranked, but then when
Yeah,
you have to, like when it matters, people can check your ID, and then
yeah, exactly. Like if
hopefully
they want to friend you or if something.
yeah,
All right.
there's still, like,
Well,
a lot of stuff we could talk about, like, in another episode or another podcast or something because,
yeah.
like, we didn't talk about, like, idols, we didn't talk about the new Splatnet, we didn't talk about how the lobby looks, we didn't talk about some of the shops, we didn't talk about, like, a lot of things. We didn't talk about story or, like, I don't even know, like, single player stuff, I guess.
Well, there's definitely, as much as we've learned today, there's definitely a lot more we still got to find out. So that's pretty much all the main topics that we wanted to cover in this episode. So, I mean, Definitely, if you want to be a guest on the show, let me know in the comments. We're definitely gonna, like David said, we're gonna talk about some more topics such as the idols, the shops, anything else you might want to talk about, any other news that might come up, or even just general community news. It doesn't have to be related to Splat 3 or Splat 2. It could just be, community, the Twitter world of Splatoon, even just that. But as always, thank you guys for watching. I'll plug our socials in the description. Make sure you guys follow both of us on Twitter. That's where you'll see most of our content being posted. I always post whenever I'm uploading a new video and going live on Twitch as well. So make sure to check me out there if you want to get the latest on when I've got new content out. So thank you guys so much for watching. Hope to see you guys next time. Again, shorter episodes, 1 to 2 times a week. Hope you guys enjoy the new format and these face cams too. We hope to keep these on for the rest of the series. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Look forward to having you on in the future.